Welcome to Wisdom Unleashed. It's your host, Christian McCrae Stewart, and today we're going to be discussing Don't Give Up, Grow Up. Good day, my beautiful people. I pray that you all are doing amazing today. As you heard, our topic for today, don't give up, grow up. As we are navigating this journey of life, as we are pursuing those dreams, those visions, those goals that are bigger than ourselves, when we get to the point and we want to give up and we want to throw in the towel, no, we're going to recognize it as the opportunity that it is to grow, to level up, to expand, to stretch ourselves and become the men and women we need to be to actually see that vision and dream come to pass. With that being said, our foundational scripture is going to be Galatians chapter 6, verse 9. It says, "Let us not grow weary in well doing, for in due season we shall reap if we do not give up." Oh, the harvest season is coming, but it takes us continuing to show up day in and day out, not giving up on ourselves, holding on to the dream, holding on to the vision, remembering the why. Remembering why we started the business, why we wrote the book, why we're doing the social media content, why we started the ministry, why we started the nonprofit. Remembering the why, because in those trying times, it is the why that gives you the motivation. It is the why that gives you the to keep on showing up. It is the why that brings back to your remembrance that I can't give up. I won't give up. Oh, and that is the only time that any of us should be saying can't. I can't give up. But beyond that, I can do all things. Nothing is impossible for me. But let us be realistic and let us begin to break some things down. When we encounter these moments of wanting to give up, we're dealing with the challenges of weariness. Life can sometimes be discouraging when we don't see the immediate results. You don't see the clients coming in at the level you anticipated. You don't see the revenue coming in at the capacity that you anticipated or that you desire, or that you feel that you need. You don't see the following. You don't see the backing. You're not selling as many copies of the book as you desire. You don't see many people supporting the foundation or the nonprofit. You don't see many people backing the vision. And we unfortunately will live in a society now that is referred to as the microwave society. Oh, I want to see the results right now. Oh, I started this business yesterday. It needs to be producing today. It needs to be producing at the end of the month. It needs to be producing in these first few months. But success doesn't happen overnight. It's continuing to show up. It's continuing to reap. It's continuing to sow. And then at the right time, we will reap a harvest. That's what it's about. And then we also deal with the spiritual, emotional, and physical fatigue that can make us want to quit. You're feeling spiritually drained or spiritually disconnected, emotionally overwhelmed. Physically, you feel like you don't have anything left to give. And it's when you feel as though you don't have anything left. You don't have anything left. If you do a little bit of push, there's a surge of energy. There's a surge of power. There's a surge of strength that you didn't even know that you had. Oh, but God will strengthen you in your weakness. Especially because hopefully all of us, what we're pursuing, what we're engaging in is something that is bigger than ourselves. It is something that God has given to us. And the thing is, what I know is that if God has given us the vision, He will make the provision. So trust me that you have everything that you need to pursue and fulfill the call that is on your life. And then lastly, when we're talking about the challenges of weariness, it's the enemy. Everything is not the enemy, right? But sometimes it's the enemy. The enemy often attacks our endurance. Why? Because he wants us to give up before the harvest. He wants us to give up right before we reach the pot of gold, if you will. He wants us to give up before we see the light on the other side of the tunnel. I was just speaking at a conference last weekend, and I spoke to the lady, something that someone had spoke to me, something that I had heard before. And it said, do you know the richest place on earth? It's the graveyard. So many people have died with dreams and visions and aspirations and so much that was within them. And for whatever reason, they decided to give up. They decided not to pursue it. And so they have left this world and all of it has left with them. But no, we're going to make the decision that we're not giving up. We're going to grow up. We're going to stretch ourselves in those times. Because this is it. This is the point. Growth requires endurance. Growth requires endurance. Maturity in faith means learning to persevere. Learning to persevere when things aren't going the way that you want them to go. To persevere when you encounter hurdles and you are facing mountains, when you are facing situations and circumstances that seem to be causing a hindrance to what you are trying to do. And so in those moments, instead of quitting, consider asking this question. What is God trying to develop in me? I mean, you think about it. For those of us who are entrepreneurs, or for those of us who are in the marketplace and you're desiring to grow and get to the next level and to get promotions, when you're encountering these situations, what is God trying to develop in you? Because the thing about it, let's be real. When we think about what we're aiming for, what we're trying to accomplish, if we were the men and women who were already developed to acquire those things, we would already have it. It's a pruning process. Some of us is character flaws that we need, that God needs to develop in us. Some of it is our management. Let's break it down. Let's use this for an example. You start a business and you're looking for your business to generate $1 million. But you don't have $1 million mindset. You haven't begun to budget well. You don't know where your money is going. You're not being a good steward of what you have. And so God is saying, you're not quite ready for me to give you the $1 million. But I'm going to keep on pruning you. I'm going to develop you in this. And it's going to help you develop the qualities and the characteristics that you need. You're saying, hey, I'm trying to get in X amount of clients in a month. And God is saying, but you're not showing up at the quality, at the level I know you are capable of to manage the clients that you already have. So how am I going to give you more? Oh, you want to be promoted. You want to be the head of the business that you work for, the company you work for. But God is saying, you're not showing up. You're not showing up on time. Or when assignments come, you're wondering why they're coming and they're asking you to do a little bit more. You feel like that's too much. It should be given to someone else, but you're desiring more. To whom much is given, much is required. So just realize, let us all realize that growth requires endurance, and that as we are maturing, there are some things that God is developing in us as we're pursuing these goals and these visions and these dreams. Growth happens in the struggle. We got to trust the process. We have to trust God. You know, the thing is, sit back and think about it. Some of the greatest lessons that you have learned in life, was it the ones where you were just successful and things just came easy? Or was it some of the ones where you had to have a little struggle? It was a little bit hard. I mean, any of us anyone who is listening, if you are a former athlete, as I am, you know that sometimes your greatest lessons came in some of those hard losses. It came in some of them days in practice when you was just like, look, coach, I'm done. I'm over it. But when you press through, you begin to see how much you were capable of accomplishing, how much was really inside of you. So if we're trying to grow, if we're trying to level up, it's going to require endurance. It's going to require us to persevere during those hard times, during those struggles. It's going to require us to say, you want to know something, Lord? I really don't know what you're doing, but I'm going to trust the process. I done had some of those moments. Lord, what are you doing? What is going on here? Prime example, when I relocated to Texas in 2019 to start my firm here, you all know what happened in 2020. Several months later, 2020, COVID hit, everything shut down. I said, Lord, we didn't discuss this. You didn't tell me this ahead of time. And you want to know what? If God would have told me ahead of time, 9 times out of 10, I would have stayed my tail over there in Mississippi where I was. But there was something that I learned about myself. There was something that I learned about God. There was some things that I acquired that strengthened me, that helped me, that prepared me, that I'm still continuing to put in place. And even as I say that, I remember one of my earlier clients, I spoke with her today, and she was like, it is so good to see the growth that is taking place in your firm. She said, because I know who you are. I know your character. I know the work that you put in. I know how you serve your clients. It's good to see the growth that's taking place in your firm. But what happened? How was I able to do that, y'all? Endurance. But there's still areas where I have to endure. There are still areas where God is pruning me. There are still areas where I'm developing. I just use that as a point of reference for an encouragement to any and everybody who's listening. Y'all, we can't give up. We got to grow up. Next, I want us to discuss the law of harvest. Because remember from our foundational scripture, it said, let us not grow weary in well-doing, for in due season we shall reap if we do not give up. So when it comes to the law of harvest, the seeds we sow will bring a harvest, but it takes time. It takes time. Look, go talk to any farmer and ask them what seeds that they're planting one day and they come out the next day and they have the apple tree or the tomatoes, have began to ripe. Ask any farmer. And we don't even have to go and ask farmers. We could do, if you want to do an experiment on your own, go out there and put a seed in the ground in your backyard. Go out there the next day. Whatever you planted, you're not going to see it begin to take root and produce fruit. As farmers don't see crops overnight, spiritual growth is the same for us, y'all. It's the same for us. This is a process. This is a journey. This is, I think about it in track. I used to run track, and you had those races like the 100 meter, the 200 meter. And then you had the marathons, like people out here running 5Ks. This is a marathon. This is not a race. And I would say I was not, necessarily too inclined to run the marathon. I done did one in my life as a requirement in the military. God, thank you for the strength. But my thing was the race. And so this is also an area where we have to say, look, you want to know something? I know my spiritual growth, what I need to do, who I need to become. It doesn't happen overnight. But I know if I continue to sow the seeds, if I keep sowing good seeds in faith, if I keep sowing good seeds in my business, if I keep sowing good seeds in my relationship, if I could sowing good seeds for my character, at the right time, in due time, a harvest is going to produce. I'm going to reap my harvest. And so what does that mean? Due season is coming. Y'all, God's timing is perfect. What he promised will come to pass. What he promised will come to pass. I mean, you think about it. Think about the example of Abraham. God told Abraham, he said, I'm going to make you the father of many nations. And Abraham got to the point, he like, look, Lord, I'm getting old. I ain't got no kids. What are my servants? They're going to be the people who have my inheritance. And God is saying, I didn't change what I said. My promise didn't change. The word that I spoke to you didn't change. And at an age when humanly thinking it was impossible for him and Sarah to have children, God did the impossible. Look at Joseph, the dreams that God was giving him and all that he had to endure, all that he encountered, being sold into slavery. I mean, trying to live an upright and moral life. And then he's placed in the prison, right? But all that he was enduring, all that he encountered, all that he went through, God was preparing him. He was right under Pharaoh when it came to power. Sometimes waiting is hard, but it's part of the process. Sometimes enduring the ups and downs is hard, but it's part of the process. You have to remember, we have to remember, our faithfulness will be rewarded if we don't give up. I was doing one of my devotional and it was just, talking about that. Like, your harvest is coming. Hold on to God's promises. Don't fret. Don't fear. Don't give up. And it's a reminder because like we stated early on, sometimes life is lifing for us, y'all. And we do want to give up. But the question becomes is how to keep going when you want to quit. How to keep going when you want to quit, because that's the whole purpose of this podcast, that God brings us wisdom that we're able to actually apply to our lives. We're able to be practical about it, right? The first and foremost thing is to stay connected to God through prayer and his word. Stay connected to God through prayer and his word. Because there is so much revelation, so much insight that God can give us when it comes down to our faith and our business, our relationships and our character. We have to stay connected, because when we're connected, it really doesn't matter what's going on around us, right? The outside noise, we're able to keep it outside. Because the thing is, what we realize and we continue to hold on to and understand is that we're in this world, but we are not of it. And there's something unique. There's something unique about the call. Like, we truly are set apart. And when we continue to tap into this and we're continuing to hear God's voice and not all the outside noise, it's all that we need to keep on going. It's all that we need to keep on going. Second, surround yourself with faith-filled people. Iron sharpens iron. And then, as my mentor would say, and I love her, she's truly a blessing to me. A rising tide lifts all boats. You want to be around people who are going where you're going, who desire more in life. Look around the people in your life, who you're entertaining, who the company that you keep, and it'll tell you a lot about yourself. Surround yourself with faith-filled people who will speak life into you. Surround yourself with people who have been where you're trying to go, who can share their testimonies, who can share their stories of how they overcome. There are many successful people. There is truly nothing new under the sun. You may think that you're going through some things, that you're battling some things that you're not able to overcome. Oh, it's been done time and time again. Go and research, go and do the stories. Go look up the stories and read them and have some encouragement and find yourself the right people to be around. And if you don't already have those people, and it's seeming as though it's hard for you to find them, pray and ask God to send you the right people. It's important. It's important, y'all. We were made for community. We weren't made to do this life alone. Third, remind yourself of past victories. Like, how many times has God showed up? How many times has God been faithful before, even with the answer prayers, or how much more so with the ones that you didn't even utter and say out loud? And God was like, that's my daughter, that's my son. I know exactly what they need and I'm finna show up for them. If God did it before, he'll do it again. He has never failed and he will not now. Remind yourself of the past victories. Soon as you at that place, you like, I'm about to throw in the towel. This is not worth it. Today has been a day. Oh, you want to know? So you want to know what happened 2 months ago? You want to know what happened a year ago? Oh, I remember when I had this encounter. Oh, look how God showed up. Give you that motivation. It gives you the motivation. It gives you the energy to keep on pressing on. And fourth, when you want to quit, shift your focus from frustration to growth. Remember, don't give up, grow up. What can you learn from the circumstance that you are currently facing? What can you learn from what you are enduring, from the problem that you're getting ready to solve? How can you grow? Because that's the thing about it. Nothing that occurs is happenstance. Nothing that occurs is coincidental. Everything happens for a purpose. And the thing is for us to search it out. And so we got to get from the place of being upset, being irritated, being angry, whatever the case it may be, however you may be feeling, wanting to give up, feeling down on yourself, pitied, or whatever it may be, and say, oh, no. This is an opportunity for me to grow. How do I grow in this? How do I grow from this? How do I utilize this to help me to level up? Shift that focus from frustration to growth. But this is some things that I want us all to consider doing, okay? Reflect on this question. Where are you tempted to give up? Where are you tempted to give up? And when you identify that, I want you to ask yourself, how can you grow instead? How can you grow instead? Don't leave from hearing this podcast, from hearing this episode, and not find a way to apply it to your life. Because this here one is going to bless somebody. It's blessing me. It was already a word that God had placed in my spirit. And so now it's like, okay, I need to come and I need to share this with my audience. I need to share this with my beautiful people, because all of us are going to win. All of us are going to win. And we need to inquire of ourselves. Where are we tempted to give up? And then how can we grow instead? So I want everybody to commit to persevering and trusting God's timing. Commit to persevering and trusting God's timing. I don't know what the dream is for you. I don't know what the call or the vision or the purpose is. But I can tell you that I can relate to you when it's like, this thing is way bigger than me. I don't even know how this is going to happen. I don't know when it's going to happen. And sometimes it seems like it's so much easier to give up and just walk away. But we don't give up. We grow up. All right, my beautiful people. If you haven't already, head over to wisdomunleashed.org. Sign up for the email list. Also, if you haven't already got my book, You're Worth It Because God Said So, you can find it on the website. Also, for my women, there's a Worthy Women Journal for this year, as we are living a life worthy of the call. This journal is helping us to walk in alignment with God and to clearly hear Him, and just to ensure that this year is going to be a year filled with accomplishing His purpose and His will for His life, for His will for our lives. And you all can go and find me on any of the social media platforms. Christian McCrae Stewart. I'm on Facebook. I'm on IG. I'm on TikTok, now that it's back. I didn't delete it. And I'm also on YouTube. But anybody, like I say, if you hear anything, even if you want to send an email out to me to talk to me about anything, to collab on some things, wisdomunleashed@gmail.com, reach out to me. Your girl is here. Like, I'm excited, and I want everybody to win. I want us to continue to grow, and I'm just excited. Y'all, here we are, January 30th. January, one more day and it's over with. Hey, what we know is that we will not give up. We're going to grow up. With that being said, you all have joined Wisdom Unleashed.